Hello, my name is Gabriela Garcia, and today I will be presenting on the importance of labor unions in large companies. My presentation will cover my statement of support, the definition of labor unions, the history behind labor unions, major labor unions, labor unions objectives, labor unions in large companies, and the references. I believe that it is important to have labor unions in large companies because the employees need someone to be their advocate. At the end of this presentation, I hope that I have provided you enough information to get a better understanding on why labor unions are so important in major companies. First, let's get started by talking about labor unions. Labor unions are a group of employees who come together to make decisions regarding their working conditions. Labor unions are usually started by having the employees vote in order for a contract to be written so that labor unions can be established in their workplace. Some of the history behind labor union is that labor unions were established to help workers with any work-related difficulties. When the United States moved from having their economy based around agriculture into having it become more into factories, labor unions became vital because many employees were being faced with bad work conditions, um, unlivable wages, and just a tough environment. Labor unions help those employees get better things like breaks in their working time, resting periods, better work environments, and many other things. Some of the major labor unions are the United Steelworkers. They were established in 1942. They have approximately 860,264 members. The next one is the American Federation of Teachers. It was established in 1916. They have approximately 828,512 members. The last one is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. It was established in 1991 and it has approximately 704,000 members. Um, Labor unions are all around us. I'm sure that many of us grew up and heard about our teachers possibly striking, and this is mainly due to them being part of a union and them wanting better wages. So oftentimes people who are in unions will strike in order to send a message to their employers so that they can get either better benefits or better wages. Unions are also all around us, even on TV, major sports. As we have seen in the past, the union of basketball players has actually striked and delayed the season. So unions are really all around us. A labor union's objective is to be an advocate for the employee. They are the middleman between the employee and the employer. They negotiate better wages for the employees. It is approximate that labor unions have helped employees get an increase of 20% in wages. They also help provide better benefits. Approximately 20% more unionized employees have employer provided health benefits compared to people who are not in a union. They also help employees get better work conditions. Like I said in my previous slide about the history, for many years, employees weren't even granted rest periods or meal periods. And now, with the help of labor unions, there are laws that make employers give employees rights. And to this day, labor unions keep fighting for employees. Labor unions are important in large companies because they can advocate for the individual employee. Large companies often have hundreds of employees in several states, so it can be hard for an employee to feel seen or heard when they have an issue. This is where labor unions come in. Labor unions will fight for the individual employee. Compared to employees who are not part of a union, they would have to go to one manager, and their issue would have to go all the way up um, until someone makes a change. And when you're part of a labor union, you have someone that whose job it is to advocate for you. So it doesn't matter if one employee is having the issue or if 1,000 employees are having the issue. They are going to advocate for you. They are also great for negotiating better wages. Many large companies do have locations in different states, which can make negotiating for wages a lot harder, especially if you're in a state like California who may have larger minimum wages. So that is where a labor union can also come in and really be the middleman between those negotiations. Being part of a labor union also provides you with job security. If you were not part of a labor union, most likely you would be hired as an at-will employee, which means that an employer can fire you whenever they see fit. And when you're part of a labor union, an employer can only really fire you if they have just cause. This means that there would have to be a big enough reason for an employer to fire you that they would be willing to take it all the way to court if necessary. Um, and also with this job security comes the feeling of loyalty to a company. When you feel like you're not disposable, you are more likely to stick around. This actually benefits large companies because there will be a reduction in turnovers, and that will ultimately benefit them because they will not have to hire as many employees and train as many employees. So overall, labor unions are just a benefit for large companies. There has recently been an issue with companies blocking labor unions because they are the middleman, and sometimes that can cause tension between employers and employees. But at the end of the day, labor unions are there for the employee, not the employer. So I personally believe that large companies do need labor unions, especially for the individual employee and the employees as a whole. This is a list of references that I use to create this presentation. Thank you.